Morning, folks. Everything new under the sun. Well, I think the biggest news for today is basically the Iranian deal. The news coming out about the Iranian deal over the last couple of days here, and what that means in terms of Israel, Iran, Middle East battles, etc. that are coming. A couple of articles here. This is from haaretz.com. Netanyahu, Iran nuclear deal is based on lies. Here's the proof. So he came out and basically put on the line all the proof that he has. This is from April 30th, this article. Iran did not come clean on its nuclear program, Netanyahu says, saying more than 100,000 Iranian documents Israel obtained prove nuclear deal is based on lies. And of course, this was the no-deal deal. Nothing was signed. Nothing was really agreed upon. And so you couldn't draw a line in the sand and say you didn't fulfill this because there was no signatures. There was no confirmation that they're going to do anything. And I think what we have is Iran just buying time, still building up their nuclear weapons, working on their projects, and paying North Korea to develop nuclear weapons, etc. Well, the speech comes on the heels of a strike against 2 bases in Syria and ahead of Trump's decision on the nuclear deal. So Trump is, of course, coming down the pipe with a decision about what they're going to do there. Netanyahu revealed a cache of documents, he says, proves Iran lied to the world about its nuclear program for years, even after the 2015 nuclear deal with the world. Iran did not come clean about its nuclear program. It goes on, presenting 55,000 pages of documents and 183 CDs. Netanyahu said Iran hid an atomic archive of documents on its nuclear program. There's a whole video here about the speech he made. Let's see. This is an original Iranian presentation from these files, Netanyahu said, stressing that the mission statement is to design, produce, and test 5 warheads with 10 kiloton of TNT yield for integration on missiles. Intelligence experts and diplomats said he did not seem to have presented a smoking gun, showing that Iran had violated terms of agreement, although he may have helped the case on behalf of skeptics in the U.S. who want to scrap it. Iran is blatantly lying, Netanyahu says, when it comes to the nuclear program, laying out what he claimed was proof Iran had developed nuclear weapons. After signing the nuclear deal in 2015, Iran intensified efforts to hide its secret files. This is another one, again from Haaretz. I'll put all these links in the description. Great show, glaring flaw. 3 takeaways from Netanyahu's Iran lied speech. Number 1, Netanyahu began his speech, began his press conference in Tel Aviv on Monday evening at a distinct disadvantage in his desire to discredit the Iranian nuclear deal, which Donald Trump is expected to withdraw from on the 12th. So that's 12 days away from now, 11 days away. He had to clear a bar set by Israel's security establishment over the last 3 years. That despite all that he said, the deal is not such a bad thing and actually serves to curb the nuclear ambitions. So it has slowed down Iran a little bit because they can't overtly do these things, but still they're absolutely lying. Number 2, the information Netanyahu revealed Monday will not have been new to the leaders of the United States, Britain, France, Germany, Russia, who are signatories to the JCPOA. Netanyahu's plenipotentiaries, the heads of Mossad and the National Security Council and the Foreign Ministry Director General have all been shuttling between the capitals in recent days, briefing their counterparts. So basically tell them what all is coming. Yes, Iran lied, which is why a robust deal that assures it will continue to lie is necessary. Netanyahu knows as much. He received all reports from his emissaries, but he still went ahead with his overhyped press conference because he knows that the man about to make the decision on the Iran deal will never in a million years be capable of explaining it. Speaking of Trump and basically his decision, I guess this is all propaganda effectively to tell Trump what to do. Number 3, there were some substance to the press conference, not just smoke and mirrors. We didn't learn anything new about the Iranian nuclear program. We didn't already know or hadn't already been verified by the IAEA. But it was still fascinating to see the details highlighted in what Netanyahu claims are files from Iran's own secret archives. So apparently we knew all this, but there's now evidence on the ground from Iran themselves, their own documentation. While he is not discrediting the Mossad, military intelligence, or whatever agencies may have been involved in obtaining the Iranian nuclear archive, he diminished their considerable achievement. And that claim is because they're wondering if it's authentic. But it was still fascinating to see the details highlighted in what Netanyahu claims are files from Iran's secret archives, assuming, of course, they are authentic. And there's no reason to think Netanyahu would discredit Israel's intelligence community by presenting blatantly false evidence. Yeah, there's absolutely no reason he would do that. But it's interesting. This is coming out now. Is this simply a big play, basically, to get Trump to continue or to do something about the deal, basically in Israel's favor, effectively. So that news. Here's Debka.com. Netanyahu's Iranian nuclear expose will not avert an Israeli-Iranian clash. So all of the stuff he's doing to show the world that Iran is continuing with its nuclear weapons program and hid a lot of documents. All that being out there, it's not going to prevent a clash. I guess he's playing the social game in the world, where he's warning the world, hoping the world's going to do something, but probably knowing really that the world's not going to do anything. So, but it does. If the world knows about it, and the citizens know about it, and the leaders know about all the stuff that's happening in Iran, well, then that gives Israel more of a green light to go ahead and do it in terms of public opinion. And basically, it's a way really of doing an intelligence briefing for all the countries of the world, saying, look, if we go in there, don't do anything, because now you know all of the information is on the table. Now you know exactly why we're doing what we're doing in Syria, in Iran. And I think that's part of the big thing. It's really an intelligence briefing for the world to put on the table all the stuff, although all the intelligence leaders of the world already know basically what's happening. And this is going to, the whole revealing of this and the result of what Trump does with the Iran deal is really going to lead us as to when the Iranian war, basically when the Iranian conflict takes place. It's going to move ahead or delay it. If they continue with the fake deal, that may delay any conflagration with Israel, between Iran and Israel. If Trump comes out and kiboshes the deal, gets rid of it, says it's no good, and there's no deal in place, that basically gives Iran the green light to then go start, openly, overtly trying to find nuclear weapons and producing their own and researching it. And that creates the arms race again, overtly. The arms race has been, it was decreased. It had the arms race was slowed down effectively. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It was slowed down by these deals. It was never stopped, of course. It just moved into secrecy and behind closed doors. But in an overt fashion, if there's no deal on the table, Iran can do what it wants, and which means it can make some overt requests for nuclear weapons, from North Korea, etc. Get those transfers going again, because they're not against any particular deal. So Iran doesn't have to worry about keeping stuff secret anymore, and can basically quickly build up its arms to get ready for a battle. And I think that's what they're doing. I think Iran basically is just biding their time, and when they need to get all the nuclear weapons, they'll make a really fast push for it and then go to war. So it depends on the timing of the war. And Iran said they have a date in mind. And whatever that date is, I'm sure their military leaders have some idea of what they think they're going to be doing. Whatever that date is, they'll wait until close to that date to kind of really make the massive effort and massive push to gather up weapons, to get allies on their side, etc. And we can see a lot of that happening right now as Iran gets Russia as ally on its side. And Iran also gets some good excuses to tell Russia to sell them their S-300 system. Well, Israel's destroying our bases in Syria and killing our personnel. And so that's incentive for Russia to go ahead and sell the S-300, which Iran would need to prevent an Israeli attack, preemptive strike. And so I think Iran is probably waiting on the S-300. Once they have that, then they'll feel they're comfortable enough, they'll feel they're safe enough to go ahead and launch a strike on Israel, knowing that they got some defensive surface-to-air missiles and radar systems ready to go. Well, this one here, this Debka file one says, will Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expose of Iran's deceit in signing the 2015 nuclear accord affect the Islamic Republic's current Middle East military strategy? Well, Dubka says, most certainly not. Say Dubka files military and intelligence sources. Just the reverse. Neither will it have much effect on world opinion, which is long inured to disclosures of Iran warmongering in the Middle East. So the world is complacent. The world hears this stuff all the time, so they don't care anymore. The world doesn't care anymore, basically. The European leaders were not bowled over by Netanyahu's revelation either. So apparently, no one was surprised, obviously, because they knew it all already, and no one's opinions were swayed related to this. But again, I think he had to come out and put it on the table, even if opinions weren't swayed, so that when they do go to battle against Iran, they come out and say, "Well, look, we did this seminar, this expose before, so you have no excuse. You knew what was coming, basically." I think why Netanyahu is doing this. I think it's part of the game plan. I think it's part of the setup, part of the preamble to the conflict, the strike, so that Russia knows exactly why Israel is doing what it's doing, etc. And I think it serves more of a purpose, even though people don't seem to be paying attention. Basically, Israel will be able to say, "I told you so," effectively. We have never been naive about Iran, said one, in relation to Netanyahu's comments. The Russian and Chinese presidents are nowhere near being convinced to drop their support for the JCPOA or change their Iranian policies. So why did Netanyahu choose to release 100,000 secret documents covering Iran's nuclear secrets at this time? The answer is to be found in the fact that they were harvested in a joint secret coup engineered by the Israeli Mossad, headed by Yossi Cohen and the American CIA director Mike Pompeo. Before he came Secretary of State, Trump needed heavy ammo for a decision to take the U.S. out of the nuclear deal, out of the 2015 nuclear deal on May 12th. So the intelligence, the thought is Trump will leave the nuclear deal on May 12th, and they needed ammo, and so this is all a setup to condition everybody to understand why he's doing it effectively. And I guess they figured, based on the previous statements, that Netanyahu would be the best one to explain why this nuclear deal wasn't needed anymore, or rather was indeed useless. This decision and how he handles the Iranian peril will vitally affect his tactics for the coming summit with the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The wheels spinning behind Netanyahu's dramatic presentation of the parties covertly involved in obtaining Iran's secret atomic archive and the hidden collaboration between the White House and the Prime Minister's office in Jerusalem will be revealed in the coming Debka weekly issues out Friday, May 4th. So that will be coming out if you're a subscriber of Debka File. But lots of things going on behind the scenes. This stuff is just being presented to us dribs and drabs, and now we get an understanding that, the CIA and the Israeli Mossad were working behind the scenes prior to this. So how much more is going on? How much of a preemptive strike is planned? How many strikes from Israel into Syria and even Iran are planned when the timeline of events starts coming down? And I think it's really going to be key. There's going to be some trigger event, whether it's North Korea or Iran doing something, or the delivery of the S-300, which is going to trigger some of these massive battles. And these are all posturing. These are all preemptive verbal strikes, if you will. Israel getting the world ready for something that's about to happen. And interesting also to note that, of course, Israel is cooperating closely with the CIA and doing some of these secret intelligence and spy operations on Iran. So interesting stuff. So that's Debka.com and Haaretz. A lot of information. I'll put the links in the description. I probably didn't describe them as well. Definitely go and read them. These things you need to understand. You need to pay attention to these, because these are precursors to the big battles. These are all the movements going in behind the wall of secrecy, and away from the mainstream media. These are the things that are going on behind closed doors that we don't normally hear about, and bits of this come out after the fact, and then we are able to put the pieces again and say, okay, that's what they were doing, that's what they were planning, that's the propaganda they were putting out there. This is the conditioning they were putting on the people of the world to let them know why they will do such a thing. So I think this is all in the lead up to basically a massive strike on Iran and a massive strike on Syria, and basically is Israel's excuse. Effectively, they're putting this out there, saying this is why we're doing what we're doing, and also to sway the United States President Donald Trump about his May 12th, and indeed condition the world to get them ready for a May 12th pullout of the United States from the nuclear accord with Iran. So big news. I think this is some of the big prophetic news that's happening. I'll leave it there for today, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.